For the second year in a row, C.J. Stroud throws 6 touchdowns against Michigan State. Ohio State wins today at Spartan Stadium 49-20. We are grading Ohio State's quarterback here at the final game of the first half. 21 of 26, 361 yards, so more touchdowns than incompletions. 361 yards, 6 touchdowns. The one pick that was a pick six, his first career pick six. So his first career touchdown came at Spartan Stadium, and his first career pick six comes at Spartan Stadium. So mixed bag for him looking over the course of his career someday when he's done here with the Buckeyes. Doug, what grade are you giving C.J. Stroud?
Yeah, an A. I mean, he made a big mistake, which keeps him from the A+, I think. But just in control, and again, it's sometimes it's just amazing to me how easy 12 yards looks for this offense. And that's a credit to the design. It's a credit to the routes the receivers run, how dangerous they are. But it's a credit to CJ just making a throw that so many offenses work so hard to complete a 12-yard pass. And CJ Stroud often looks like he's throwing on air when he does it. So there was spectacular stuff on Saturday, but I was reminded of that as much as anything, that even – I mean, I think the 3 wide receivers averaged like 24 yards per catch or something. They were super explosive. But even the 12-yard throw, you have to appreciate it. So just an incredibly solid, explosive, and efficient A for me.
Steven, you're great.
I would agree with Doug with the A. Had we not talked to the players before we did this and understood why the interception happened. So I'm going to give him an A+ anyway. He's played 2 games against Michigan State. He has 8 completions and 12 touchdowns. I mean, he's basically
8 incompletions.
Yeah, incompletions in 12. He's basically bullied this team the last 2 years. And outside of that miscommunication between Emeka and C.J. Stroud, both of them kind of alluded to that, he was flawless basically the rest of the game.
Wait. Donna, I talked to the players too. C.J. took it more than Emeka did, though, right? I mean, it's a miscommunication. They got caught in an in-between coverage. If you're adding the blame there, didn't you think it was like 52-48 C.J.?
Technically, I would say that Ryan Day probably took the biggest chunk just because he's a head coach and he does that. But, yeah, if you had to put the order, it'd be probably CJ first, Day second, and Emeka third. But the point of the matter is it was a miscommunication. But outside of that, he had some excellent throws today. He read it well. He was 21 of 26, only 5 incompletions for the night. He was flawless outside of that. And so when you're so great at basically everything else outside of that play, I think it makes up for that bad mistake.
Yeah, I would still say low A. I don't know if under any circumstances, if he shares any of the blame, I don't think I can give him an A+ with a pick six. But the efficiency speaks for itself. 26 attempts for 361 yards. Michigan State doesn't have an answer for him, and they've got to figure out a way to have an answer for an Ohio State quarterback before they can do anything in the East. I think that's like the lesson that's been taught here the last couple of years. But for Stroud, I thought it was a good performance to come in here after a week where things were a little weird against Rutgers. You come in and just throw the crap out of the ball again, and now that's kind of your that's like your punctuation mark for the first half. And now what do you do moving into the second half, where there's some bigger challenges still awaiting, especially on the defensive side, some of the teams are going to have to face, and what do they do with that? Much more about this on Buckeye Talk, and get the text 614-350-3315.